Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports? I wish we had a simple answer.
Oh my goodness, I do not know the answer. Yeah, for sure. It's like you automatically dismiss people in their careers when you just be like, oh, well, he didn't win a ring, or he doesn't have a ring. It's like,
if it didn't mean much or shouldn't mean much, well then, why were you so relieved to finally have one? Why did you depart Cleveland to go to Miami?
LeBron called out the NBA's ring culture obsession because he thinks it's unfair. And he's totally right. He compared how GOATs are rated in other sports to how it's done in the NBA. And he's right. The NBA is the only place where fans act like rings are everything. But first, where did this ring culture come from? And how did it become the main yardstick for measuring player greatness in a team sport like basketball? So, how did we get here? Why is the NBA so obsessed with rings? Here's Skip Bayless's answer.
The NBA thing, this started with the centers. This started with Russell. If LeBron wants to know where the ring scenario started, go look at the history of the NBA. All the great centers.
Indeed, it goes way back to the 1950s and 60s when Bill Russell dominated the league. He won 11 championships in 13 years with the Boston Celtics. And so that kind of success became the standard for what greatness was supposed to look like. But that all changed when Michael Jordan came into the league.
I feel like it was in the 90s it started to shift, when I got in the league. Now maybe I'm short-sighted. Our memories are fallible. I don't know, but I felt like it was starting to become that way. I don't know. I wonder if sometimes it's part of the way we cover sports nowadays.
In the 90s, Michael Jordan came and went 6 for 6 in the finals, and the media crowned him as the face of the NBA. That perfect finals record became part of his legend, and the league leaned into it hard. Also, it made the NBA realize that champions sold tickets, boosted ratings, and built global fan bases. Over time, rings became the shortcut for greatness. Also, it should be noted that part of the reason why ring culture is bigger in basketball is because one player can have a huge impact on team success, more than in other sports. But it wasn't always about championships. Before the 80s, fans focused more on what players could do individually. Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game is still talked about today, although it's mostly about finding a tape of the game. But at that time, people were generally more impressed by once-in-a-generation talent than by trophy cases. However, Bill Russell happened, and so did Michael Jordan, and because of how different these two legends are, the ring argument has become so inconsistent. Because if titles are the reason Michael Jordan is the greatest, then he's not even greater than Robert Horry. But if talent is, then it's not so obvious why Jordan is clear of LeBron. Deep down, everyone knows rings don't tell the full story. For instance, compare Robert Horry to Karl Malone. Horry has 7 rings and actually played a key role on championship teams, but he was never the main guy. Karl Malone was. Malone has no rings, but he scored nearly 37,000 points, won 2 MVPs, and made the All-NBA first team 11 times. And there's hardly anybody who thinks Robert Horry was greater than Karl Malone. But why is that? If rings are the end-all be-all, why can't we simply rank the GOAT according to those with the most rings?
a ring is a team accomplishment.
Right.
And if you happen to have a moment where you're able to share that with your team, that should be discussed. This team was the greatest team, okay? Or that team, you can have those conversations.
The fact is, championships depend on a lot of factors outside a single player's control. Even apart from needing great players, coaches, and fan support, having a solid front office is key too. As LeBron rightly pointed out, other sports seem to know this. In football, Peyton Manning won 2 Super Bowls, while Tom Brady finished with 7. But ask any serious football fan, and they'll tell you Manning is still one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. The same goes for baseball, where Barry Bonds, who never won a World Series, is still considered one of the greatest to ever play the sport. Away from the US, in soccer, Lionel Messi had not won a World Cup when fans and analysts around the world were already calling him the greatest of all time. Why? Because of the way he dominated club football, the jaw-dropping goals, the vision, the consistency. Same with Cristiano Ronaldo. His trophy case is impressive, sure, but there's no World Cup and still he's an all-time great. In all these, nobody erases the legacy of any of these legends just because he came up short in the biggest team competition of their sport. So naturally, the ring culture should have never happened, but the culture encouraged it and the league itself wanted it. Here's Stephen A. with the juice.
The endorsement dollars, the sizzle, the shine, and all the monetary compensation that came your way because of it was courtesy for championships. You weren't getting that kind of shine when you weren't winning.
Now, this is where LeBron's statement might start to sound hypocritical. During the podcast, LeBron was totally right when he mentioned that the ring debate gets even more complicated when it comes from him.
Like trying to nitpick an individual because he was not able to win a team game or a team match or whatever the case may be. I don't know where it started. It's just it's a long conversation, especially when it comes to me individually. It's just so weird. It's so weird.
But I would also say that LeBron has contributed to this. He's contributed to this by himself.
There's no doubt that LeBron James has spent a good part of his career chasing rings. He was chasing rings when he left the Cavs in 2010 to form a super team in Miami with Wade and Bosh. He was also chasing rings when he returned to Cleveland in 2014 to join a ready-made Kyrie and Love core. Then he moved to LA in 2018, joining AD for the same reason. Even when he's not moving himself, LeBron is often linked to team changes and recruiting superstars, all to make a championship push. At some point, LeBron starts to look like the average 40-year-old single lady on Tinder, the way he chases rings. But while the messenger might be flawed, the message is true. Rings alone do not make greatness. So what does? One of the first places to start is individual accolades. MVPs, All-NBA selections, Defensive Player of the Year awards. These are the league's way of recognizing players who dominated in their era. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won 6 MVPs, the most in NBA history, and was selected to 19 All-Star games. That's not just impressive, it's sustained excellence. Then there are the raw numbers. Wilt Chamberlain averaged over 50 points a game for an entire season. Magic Johnson averaged 11.2 assists over his career, completely redefining how the point guard position could be played. Larry Bird consistently put up 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, while leading one of the most balanced teams in NBA history. Yes, stats don't tell the whole story, but they paint a much clearer picture than ring count ever could. These numbers tell us how much a player did night after night, regardless of who they were playing with or what team they were on. Next is impact, which is something fans don't always account for. Magic brought style, swagger, and showmanship to the Lakers, turning Showtime into a cultural movement. Allen Iverson inspired a whole generation with his fearlessness and authenticity. Bigs like Shaquille O'Neal caused rule changes. Steph Curry literally changed the game with his three-point shooting. And LeBron? Apart from what he's been able to do on the court, his influence extends to philanthropic activities such as his I Promise school. Now, although everyone understands the importance of the stats, impact, and individual accolades, still, they are not as important as rings. But will that change one day? Should it? King James really wants to be the greatest, and has done everything to be that. But his pursuit has led to this realization.
Me individually. It's just so weird. It's so weird.
I mean, coming from someone who's won a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's never enough.
Nothing is ever enough. The narratives are too important, and the expectations from fans and haters alike is through the roof. Here's Steph Curry coming to that understanding here.
Steph, you surprisingly only have 11 All-Star games to your name. with LeBron having 21.
Dang, your expectations are insane, brother.
Does that?
It's wild to think about where I came from. That is something that you're like. I'm
No, no, it's
surprised.
great. I
I'm
just thought
surprised
you
you
would have
only
more.
have. I haven't heard only 11 in my entire life. So
This interviewer is not a hater, and considering how much Steph has impacted the game, yes, only 11 seems reasonable. But the fact is, even if Steph has 30 All-Stars, it still won't be enough. As Bayless said, the ring thing started with the centers, and even though Bill Russell has 11, not only is he not the greatest hooper in history, he isn't even the greatest center. In fact, even among players with rings, some rings don't count. For example, some fans try to discount Kobe Bryant's 5 rings because 3 of them came with Shaq. Then you have Dirk Nowitzki, who only won once, but gets endless praise for how he carried that 2011 Mavericks team to a title by himself. So even when people try to make a big deal out of rings, the fact is they really can't do it. At some point, everyone realizes it's ridiculous. But does that mean one day people like Stephen A will stop calling players like Giannis Antetokounmpo an underachiever because he only got 1 ring? Probably not.
I mean, Jerry West, I think, went to like 9 straight NBA finals.
Right.
And,
The logo.
and was only able to win 1. Right. And he's the logo of our league.
Yeah.
So you can't sit here and tell me that, okay, well, because he only won 1, the guy can't be in the same room with the guy who won 2 or 3 or 4. Like, why not? This guy, he's our logo.
Imagine thinking that the NBA logo is probably not good enough because of rings. Now, that's a narrative that no one would accept. But that's how you find out that the real problem is not rings, it's the narratives. The debate on who's the GOAT is just a narrative. At the end of the day, your greatness depends on what you bring to the game. So I guess the question is, what does LeBron bring to the game that's more than what Jordan brought? Also, do you think it's the players themselves that feed into the ring culture with the moves they make just to win rings? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, watch what Shaq said about Curry concerning the GOAT debate next.